Hey, what's going on, guys? Dave Sharp here with Dave Wood, and wow, right? Sorry about that. Had a little bit of, those are a little bit more than technical challenges. That was a technical just avalanche, right? And it's fascinating because Dave and I were sitting here talking, um, and I'm also getting over a little bit of a cold right now too. I had a cold all through Christmas, and so I'm feeling a little bit better now. But I've got kind of a little bit of a scratchy throat and a little bit of faucet on my nose. I've got some residuals there coming. Not residuals like we talk about, the bad kind of residuals. But first of all, I want to tell you guys thank you for being patient. Dave and I were just kind of sitting here talking about how just really unbelievably patient you guys are, and we appreciate you more than you can ever imagine. I mean, here we are. It's literally 40-something minutes late, and is all I can tell you is thank you. You guys are amazing, and I hope that your Christmas or your holiday or your whatever you celebrated here over the course of the last week was absolutely amazing, and I hope that it was a holiday season that you'll never forget. Now, we're moving into 2014, clearly, and we've only got a couple of days left of this year, so we wanted to kind of teach you guys and give you some content. Let me mute this real quick. Okay, there we go. We want to give you guys some content that I believe is going to really change the way that you look at your business and the way that you look at getting leads and customers. Because for a lot of you, you're brand new, and for a lot of you, you've been in the game and you've been marketing for a long time now. And I think that what we're going to talk about today, and again, you know Dave and I's way of training, it's a little bit different than a lot of people's way of training. We kind of grew up in this industry, going out there and giving technical, being taught to do technical videos to where we're taking people through and we're teaching them step by step exactly what they should do. And the truth of the matter is that there's a lot of free videos on YouTube that will teach you how to set up a Facebook pay-per-click campaign. There just is. So for me to spend 30, 45, 60 minutes with you here on this Hangout, showing you specifically how to set up a Facebook pay-per-click campaign is an absolute waste of your time, and it's a waste of my time. Why? Well, because I believe that if you're on this Hangout, your hourly value is much more than $10, $12, $13 an hour. And the truth is that you can hire somebody to set up a Facebook pay-per-click campaign who knows how to do it for you for $10, $11, $12, $13 an hour, maybe in some cases even less than that. You can go on Odesk, you can go on Elance, and as I'm saying and dropping some of this information, especially for those of you who are new, write this stuff down because you can go back over, review your notes, and tackle some of this stuff later. What we want to give you is we want to give you some higher level concepts of how to really generate and drive not just a trickle of leads or traffic to your websites, but how to generate and drive literally hundreds, thousands, sometimes tens of thousands of leads or visitors to your website, and really become somebody who understands how to control large crowds and influence large crowds of people on the internet. And if you learn how to do that, you can really become a force to be reckoned with here on the internet. So what we want to teach you how to do is kind of develop and adopt some of the concepts that we've adopted here over the course of the last couple of years that have allowed us to really go and become, and we don't brag about this a lot, we don't really talk about this a lot, but a couple of people within a company who have really become people who have generated the most traffic out of really anybody that's in this industry right now. And how did we do that? Well, we did that by understanding how social networks work. We did that by understanding how affiliate traffic works. We did that by understanding how marketing funnels work. We did that by understanding how branding works. We did that by understanding how goodwill works and how to put lots of value out there in the community that just keeps people wanting to come back and follow you, engage with you, and be involved in what you're doing. So what we thought that we would do today was really sit here and basically almost interview each other because there's some things about Wood that I don't even know, that I would like to know, that we've just kind of taken our own roles within the company, within our business, and he's taken one part of certain things with social traffic and with understanding how to create content that gets people to kind of create a tribe that follows him really from year to year to year. And then I understand some things about how to go out there and really look at paid traffic more as an art rather than a science. How to go out there and brand myself in a way that gets people to be intrigued with what I'm doing and to share my stuff and to really kind of take more of a personal development aspect or a point of view on traffic generation that really gets people engaged with what I'm doing. So I think this is going to be valuable for you in a couple of different perspectives. Number one, we're going to try to keep this as simple as possible because at the end of the day, here's what I can tell you about traffic generation. It's really not that complicated. It's really not. It's not that difficult. And most people make it more difficult than it really is. It's really all about having an offer, right? An offer that you want to sell people, then finding an audience that you want to sell that offer to, and it's a market match, right? I can't be trying to sell vacuum cleaners to somebody who doesn't have carpet, right? I mean, that's not a market match. So if we have a business opportunity, we want to sell it to people who are looking for a business opportunity. If I have personal development products, say like the Inner Circle, I want to go out there and I want to find people who are interested in personal development products. So where would be a good place that I would want to go out there and market the brand new Inner Circle funnel, for example? Well, maybe on personal development sites like Tony Robbins' site, like Bob Proctor's site, like Brian Tracy's site. And there's lots of people within that niche, and even more that I don't even know, that if I just went out there and just Googled personal development or mindset training or something like that, I could probably find on the first page of Google 10 different blogs that all are getting a lot of traffic that I could post a banner on their site and I could drive traffic into that funnel. This is the type of things that most people are not thinking about when they're thinking about driving traffic, because I think what we do when we come into this business first and foremost is we kind of look at getting leads and getting customers as a guessing game. Like I'm going to go out there and I'm going to just kind of throw $5,000 out at random traffic. Maybe I'm going to pay somebody, maybe I'm not, and I'm going to count on that it's just going to somehow potentially magically appear without really understanding how it all works. So today what we'd like to kind of give you a little bit of an inside look into is how it works, and more importantly, how to start thinking for yourself instead of relying on everybody else to do it for you. Because how you become a pro and how you make a lot of money in anything that you're doing is you understand how it works. You start to understand the mechanics and the dynamics of how marketing works, how to create an offer, how to write copy, how to go out there and then find advertising sources that you can post advertisements on to then drive customers to your offer. It's simple. The concepts that we'll talk about today have been around for literally decades and decades and decades. And somehow I think that we get away from the simplicity of just advertising and get kind of sucked into this complicated world of direct response marketing. And really, at the end of the day, the timeless principles are the ones that are most powerful. So that being said, Dave, Merry Christmas, Feliz Navidad. What's going on down there in Costa Rica, my brother?
Oh, dude, just chilling out, enjoying the morning, waiting with everybody else to get the hangout started, and smiling. It's really funny, Dave. Actually, I wanna before we get into this, because I'm coming from a totally different perspective. I've always had tech problems. I started an internet business, and it wasn't really an internet business. I kind of used the internet to sell stuff, and I remember I did this like 5 times, but one day. I popped on a webinar, and this is really how I've made all my money, is doing live stuff. And I popped on this webinar and was just passionate. I was just in the zone. Like I gave like the most compelling why you should buy, why you should join now presentation that like I think I've ever given. I mean, I was paced back and forth. I was ranting and raving. I was telling stories. I was using open loops. I was engaging. You know what I mean? I was pumping myself up. And then, like, I wasn't watching the feedback from from the live broadcast. And I was looking over there at the comments after I came back, after like pacing back and forth. And I was using slides, and I was flipping the slides back and forth. And then I looked over in the comments, and it says, "Dave, we can't hear you." Right? So there was actually like 100 people that waited, watching the slides without hearing me talk. They just sat there and watched the slides moving by on the screen for an hour straight. And then I came back on, and I'm like, "Sorry guys, forgot to unmute my microphone." So this though is like a new level, showing up like 40 minutes late and still having 3,000 people on. So I just want to thank everybody for waiting and apologize for taking forever. I hope all of you had a Merry Christmas, and hopefully I can share with you something today that was at least worth the wait. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. No, I feel the same way. I think it's hilarious. These issues, sometimes it's a love-hate relationship with the internet. You know what I'm saying? I mean, some days I'm just ready to just kind of turn my computer off and just go show the plan. 5 days a week out, just knock on doors, beat the pavement. Pick up the white pages like Todd Falcone does.
The yellow pages, Dave. The yellow pages.
Well, you've got to call businesses, right?
Yeah.
You gotta love it. So anyways, let's jump into it. I want to ask you, man, some questions because you are probably the best in the world at creating kind of social constructs and in creating content that has people not only engaged in it immediately, but also coming back and trickling for years to come. There's videos and articles that you've wrote out there on the internet that literally people are still reading and watching years later, and you've been super consistent with that. And you're not the big copywriter, you're not the big paid ad guy, but you understand probably better than anybody how to generate leads and traffic with free strategies. And when I say free strategies, I think sometimes we get a little bit there's a misunderstanding there about what free strategies are, because for me, and you can talk about your experience about this too, free strategies for me meant go out there and write scam reviews on all of the most well-known gurus out there in the world. And I know you've done that a couple of times, but I've also seen you over the years mature and start to understand what really creates not only a frenzy of traffic and a frenzy of people coming to your site, but also what creates real sustainable customers and people actually not just coming for the shock value of going and seeing if something's a scam or not because they saw a headline, is XYZ a scam, but actually being intrigued by the content. So tell me the process. Talk a little bit about that, man. How, when you first got started, you didn't obviously have a very big tech budget. What did you do when you very first got started to start generating and getting your first set of eyeballs on your site?
Well, let me go back to concepts here, and I'm going to answer this maybe a little bit different than you think. What I want to talk about is I want to talk about how all of you should be thinking, okay, and how people think who have businesses that really they last for a long time, and they're constantly growing their list and their exposure. When I got started online, here's what I knew. I knew that the key that unlocks your business, as far as free stuff goes anyways, is credibility. It's when people look at you, being able to overcome the unconscious barriers and filtrations to purchasing. When I got involved in network marketing, I had a big problem. And the problem was I was broke and I was poor. Back in 2002, I had a car that was like a $500 car. This is like way before the band story. I got involved in an old school company going around showing the plan 5 nights a week, dressing in a suit, hitting people up in Walmarts and stuff like that. Well, the problem is legitimately and honestly, you could just look at me and you could know that I was struggling. Well, I kind of floundered around in my business for a handful of years until one day I was listening to an audio training, and it was talking about the key to unlocking the ability to move and influence people actually comes from social proof. And all social proof really is it's really legitimately, it's being able to make it look like you're a person that's surrounded by successful, attractive people, right? And what I did, and this is back in 2006, 2007, and this is going to go into concepts that are feeding into traffic, on how to really, 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 really start moving people, not just creating people that visit a site, and how to do it for free. But what I started doing, and this is in 2006, 2007, was I realized that if I'm struggling, it doesn't really matter. What matters is the image that's created by who's standing close to me. If I'm constantly around people that are successful, that have money, that are creating results, then when people look at me, there's no conscious or unconscious filtration where they say, I shouldn't listen to this person. It's overcome. It's kind of like the best way to explain this is that if you walk into like a bar at night, right, which is like the ultimate modern version of a tribalistic value system, right? But if you go into a bar at night, if you look in the room, you're going to see groups of people, and a group of people in a nightclub, in a bar, or something like that. There's always going to be somebody who's got an alpha presence with hordes of people surrounding them, and it's almost a completely unconscious behavior, right? So what I started doing in 2006, 2007 was I started artfully learning to constantly make it look like even if I'm not the most successful person, people don't really question me on it because I'm constantly around people who are successful, who are moving, who have got like good families, and who are actually creating results. And what I noticed happen, and I'll talk to you about strategies on how I did that in a little bit. I'm going to give you a little bit of a frame here. What started to happen is all of the objections that I used to get started to disappear. Like people used to ask me, and this is going back in a different kind of a business, but people used to ask me before, is this a pyramid scheme? They just stopped asking, right? It just didn't come up anymore. Like for some reason, something that used to come up a lot, right, just stopped coming up when I started surrounding myself with proper social constructs of people that were kind of like there to be walls of perception around what I was doing. They stopped asking if it was a pyramid scheme. People just stopped saying they didn't have money to join. Like people used to say, oh, I don't have money to join, but then when I started surrounding myself with social constructs, they just stopped. Another really interesting side effect of that I noticed was that when I was overcoming objections, like if somebody had a problem, with my business, I used to have to like answer that, and it was like just real hassle to try to get them to like see things in a different way. Well, when I started surrounding myself with proper social constructs of people that were surrounding myself in really creating kind of this image that allowed me to convey a message of credibility and success, and doing that through social circles, when I started to do that, what I noticed was when somebody came up with an objection, I could just kind of look at them and start laughing and just say, really? Pause. And then I'd say, just get in. And they'd just join, right? And it didn't really matter that much. Now, this is all feeding somewhere. I was listening to an audio back in, it was like 2008. It was right before I started marketing on the internet. And I believe the guy in the audio, I think it was Mark Yarnell. And I actually called Mark up because I had heard an audio training that he'd done, and he's a phone guy, and so I figured I could find his phone number. What I didn't know is how easy it would be to get a hold of him. I mean, I called, I found this guy's number, and it was a number on a website, and I picked up the phone, and I dialed, and it literally was like, hello, this is Mark Yarnell. I was like, well, that guy doesn't pull any punches. He actually just answers his phone all the time. Well, I got on the phone with Mark, and I had this like big, long conversation with him, and he told me something. This is right before I really started to market online. He says that if you really want to know the secret to having people to really grow an organization fast, he says, you've got to learn how to be the guy that everybody talks about, right? You got to learn to be the person that everybody talks about. You got to learn how to be this like kind of icon. Like people run around and they talk about Justin Varengi and Justin's success, or they run around, they're talking about Vic and Vic's success, or they're running around and they're talking about me and my success. He says, you've got to learn how to be the guy that getting everybody to talk about you. He says, that will do more for you than any amount of prospecting calls. That'll do more for you than any amount of articles you write, any amount of videos you create. You have got to learn how to be the one that everybody talks about. And I was like, well, how do I do that? He says, well, any chance I get, and I actually was recording this audio interview, I still got it somewhere, and I was putting it up on a website that I'd like just started, and I'm just starting to get into attraction marketing and whatnot. I'm probably screwing up my timelines a little bit, but this is 4 years ago. But he said, Dave, this call, for example, he says, I've written books, they're bestsellers. He says, I've made millions and millions of dollars. I've traveled around the world for 20 years teaching at seminars. And he says, you contact me, and he says, every time, I will get on something like this that gives me exposure in front of other people's spheres of influence and other people's groups of people, because I want to be surrounded by as many people talking about me as humanly possible, because that is what grows my business. And so what I always think about when I'm thinking in terms, I don't think about traffic in terms of clicks on a page. What I'm thinking about is I'm thinking about how can I create an environment where constantly all the time there are constant sources of input where people are out there in the world and they're sharing my face and my voice and my content with their spheres of influence, with people that they know, with those social circles, with their Facebook groups, to the point where there's constantly a never-ending supply of people who are not just trying to join something, but there are people that are literally hunting me down, looking for a link to click on to buy something specifically for me, right? And that's how I started thinking differently after that interview, and I started thinking in terms of how can I do that? Well, what I know is that the key to getting people talking about you is learning how to produce a result. Like if you're, for example, in Empower Network, if you're an affiliate, of course, if you're not in, just join. There's a link below the video. The best thing that you could do for yourself, beyond anything else, is just learn whatever you need to learn to start producing some kind of result. It could be getting 100 leads in a day. It could be getting your first sign-up. It could be getting 10 sign-ups in a week and then having your first week where you actually do what we teach you to do, or you get 2 people a day and you start promoting the events. It could be you get a person, you call them on the phone, and you upsell that person and they get all in. You need to do whatever you can possibly do, however you need to do it, however you need to figure it out, however many late nights you need to stay up to learn to do something where you produce some kind of amazing result in your business. Because what you can then do is you can take that result and you can start leveraging that result through other spheres of people and get them talking about you. So this is kind of the track of what I did, and I'm going to explain it because I've only explained this a couple of times. And it's not what I did, it's the thinking behind what I did that created a very, 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 very specific kind of result, and all of it was planned and thought out in advance. I knew that I had to get people talking about me. I also knew that I needed to go out there and create a result, so I had a reason for people to start talking about me. And so what I did in my business, and this is going beyond blogging and beyond article marketing and backlinking and all this stuff that people talk about like it's the real way that you're going to get results. Guys, learning how to scheme Google and cheat their algorithms, it's like a losing battle over a period of time. And the truth is, the honest truth is, I never made my money like that. I made my money from social influence. So what I did there was I knew I needed to produce a result. So I set an unmovable goal, right? Now, that's a little bit different than most people do, because what a lot of people do when they get into business is they set a goal that they're not really going to hit. You know, they're like, I want to make $100,000 a month. And you're like, really? And they're like, yeah, no, I'm not going to work for that. And they don't really, 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 really want to hit their goal. Well, I set a goal that no matter what it took, no matter how long I needed to work, no matter how many webinars I needed to do, no matter how many prospecting calls I needed to make, I was going to, that's it, period, start sponsoring a minimum of 2 people a day within 90 days of my business and get to a $30,000 a month income. No matter what it took, and no matter how much I had to work, and no matter how much energy I needed to put in, I was going to do it, that's it, period, right? So I went out there and I created a strategy to do that through article marketing. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. What I did in those first few months was brutal, right? I would never want to do it again, right? But it was what it took. See, a lot of people, they get involved in a business or whatever, and they're not really willing to do whatever it takes. They're wanting to do it their way. Look, folks, doing things in your way that you want, like this is the way that I want to do it and this is all I'm willing to do, that's reserved for people who have money, right? Like when you get to a place where you're sponsoring tons of people or you're selling tons of products or you're popping on webinars and everybody's deciding to buy and you're packing rooms with thousands of people and you've got 100,000 a month and you could go hire employees and you could go pay for traffic and you could do all this stuff. It's a very different story than when you're new. Your whole business when you're new is going to be driven by you being hungry. It's going to be driven by you wanting to rise to the top. It's going to be driven by your burning desire to do something different. It's going to be driven by your vision to do something great in your life. It's not going to be driven by, oh, I'm going to do it my way. That's cocky, guys, and it's arrogant for a new person to do that. That's reserved for people who have earned that right by doing whatever it takes. And so I just did whatever it takes. It was brutal. I answered the phone. I called leads back. I responded to people personally. I'd get on the phone with somebody who had questions and close them and lead them through the join process on the site. I mean, I remember I used to get a lead, and if they responded back and they said, hey, call me, I'd pick up the phone and I'd call them. I'd say, hey, is this Dave Sharp? He'd say, yeah, Dave Sharp, just noticed you're on my website. What can I do for you? And he'd start talking to me, and I'd ask him questions, and then I'd close him right on the phone, leading him to the join form and having him fill in his credit card information and just get in. That's what I did because I did whatever it took. Well, it took me 45 days to start sponsoring 2 people a day. But then here's what I knew I needed to do. I knew I needed to take my result and I needed to create leverage from it. All right? And I constructed a plan for this. Right? I was in a community at the time that had not nearly the amount of people that Empower Network has. It was like maybe a tenth of the size. Maybe I think it was less than 10th the size. But what happened is if you would get like influential in the community or whatever, they would let you get on. A webinar and teach everybody what you're doing. So I started producing results and then proactively sought out the owners of this company, asking them if I could participate on one of their live trainings because I knew if I got my face in front of enough people, I could break out of the grind that I was involved in my business and get to the next level. And so what I did was I tried contacting this guy and he wouldn't respond. And so I was like, fine, if he's not going to respond, I'll get him to contact me. So I wrote an article about his name and I ranked his article in Google above his name. So he looked up his own name in the search engine and of course saw my article. And when he saw my article was published on his technology system. And when he saw that, he just hit me up and gave me a call. And I got on the phone. He said, "Hey, how are you doing this? I noticed you're producing, a couple of sales a day. Would you be willing to come on and teach our community how to do this on one of our training webinars?" And I responded real quick because it was planned. And I said, "I'll be willing to do that, but I'll be willing to do it only under 2 conditions." And he says, "Because if I teach people to do this, it's going to hurt my ability to use the strategy a little bit." And he said, "Well, Dave, what are the conditions?" And I said, the conditions are I need to be able to sell something, okay? And number 2, I'm in a place in my business where I need social proof to get to the next level. I'm doing this all through kind of grinding it out and through my sales ability, and sales ability has its limits. So I said I need to be able to sell something, and I need to be able to ask for testimonials, right? And if you let me do those 2 things, then I'd be happy to teach people. He said, okay. So what happened is the next week, or 2 weeks later, I got on this webinar that later became like famous for about 2 years. Well, between then and the webinar, here's what I did. I locked myself in a room. I closed the doors. It was a room with no windows up in Fairbanks, Alaska, and I sat there staring at my computer screen at a PowerPoint thinking, okay, and planning for 2 weeks straight, 10 hours a day, right? Because there are times when windows will open up to where you can gain influence that reaches far beyond what you can reach at any other point in your life. There are windows that will open up for all of you. Some of you it'll be going to our event in Miami. By the way, every single one of you needs to get tickets to Miami, and if you don't have your tickets, just buy them, okay, below the live stream. Some of you it's going to be getting on a live call. Some of you it's going to be an opportunity for a radio interview. Some of you it's going to be you're the breakout, you're the one that we're bringing up on stage. All of you are going to have opportunities to gain a kind of exposure that you can't gain in any other kind in your life. And when you have that opportunity, you need to do whatever it is. Like when you guys are ever invited to speak, there's some people that sometimes they get invited to speak at our events, and I know that they're planning their event speech 5 minutes before, they get up on stage because they don't think about it in advance. Guys, if you've never been on stage, if you've never had the opportunity to win a contest, if you've never had the opportunity to get in front of thousands of people, you should be thinking about that thing for a month in advance, because that could be your chance to break out, right? And I knew that this was my chance to break out. So I spent 2 weeks thinking about it all day and night. Well, I did a handful of things on there, and I'm going to tell you what happened because this completely changed my life. And it will happen in a different way for you, but I want you to listen to the reasons on why this worked the way that it worked. I did a handful of things on this webinar. About 1,000 people showed up on it, right? First thing I did on the webinar was I sold something, and I'm good at selling stuff. So I created an income story where I made over $20,000 in a week because I was able to get on a webinar, I was able to sell something to a large community of people. That income story gave me more credibility to attract a higher level of person into my business. That's the first thing that I did. The second thing that I did was I was teaching a webinar on article marketing. Now, guys, there's people who are different out there. Some people, like, they don't want anybody writing articles about them. Like, I don't know if you've ever been one of these guys that, like, you've gotten angry when you've seen a review on you that's negative or whatever. Like, for me, I always like all that stuff. Like, if somebody's, like, writing a negative review on me and then they post it on a site and then they email their list, guess what happens? A whole bunch of people on somebody's list who didn't know who I was now go read this article and say, I wonder why Dave Wood's worth bothering writing a negative article about, and then they go look me up online and they buy stuff. So I'm fine if people write negative stuff. I'm fine if people write articles that says, the David Wood review, who's the real Wood, David Wood, and then they're trying to sell something else. I'm fine if people write stuff about me. I could care less. I want more people to do it, right? Because I'm wanting to be in front of more groups of people and bigger groups of people all the time. So in any case, what I did on this webinar was I said, one of the things that, you can do is you can take like a leader and you can write a review about them. But I said you don't want to write negative stuff about leaders because that'll make it to where they never want to be around you and they never want to join your team and they never want to be a part of what you're doing. So what I'd do is, I'd go out there and find people who are getting traffic because people are searching for them, and then write a review and write positive, raving, glowing things about them. And I said, you guys are fine to write articles about me, and I embedded a suggestion into that, a really strong one actually, if you go back, that people should write articles about me. I said, go ahead and write articles about me. Write articles about my story, about how I was living in a van, and here I am on this webinar sponsoring 2 people a day. Go ahead and write an article about, this strategy, and, go out there and try it, and then when you get results with it, go ahead and write an article and tell people in your Facebook circles about what happened when you tried it. And I really spent a lot of thought and energy into getting people to write articles about me is the second thing that I did. And I'm going to tell you what happened in just a second. The third thing that I did was I told people on there that I needed video testimonials for my business, and I gave them a bonus for giving me video testimonials if they submitted them within a certain time. Well, let me tell you what happened from this, and then I'm going to go back to the concepts, and this is going to go into really the way that I actually do things, not some sort of theory or not some sort of a construct. This is something that actually you can take and you can think about in your own way, and you can say, how can I get more people talking to me to increase social exposure as I'm moving on in my business? And there's a few keys to making that work. Here's what happened. Within 7 days, because of how strong I embedded that suggestion to write articles about me, it was about 7 days or 14 days, there were more articles about Dave Wood, who was a nobody at the time, than there was about Mike Dillard, who was the kingpin of the attraction marketing space. In 7 days or 10 days, there was more articles. If you looked me up online and you didn't know who I was, all you saw was that there was thousands of people writing articles about Dave Wood. I looked really, 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 really important. So if somebody went and they saw a replay of that webinar and then they said, who the hell's Dave Wood? Well, because of the webinar, they would look up Dave Wood on the internet, and there's like now hundreds of thousands, if not 500,000 or 1 million articles about Dave Wood. Whether you think that I'm a good person or whether you think I'm a bad person became completely irrelevant because I looked powerful like the guy in the bar who's standing there quiet, not saying anything, and for some reason all the hot girls and the hot guys and everybody else in the bar is just surrounding me in a huge circle listening to me tell stupid jokes. I looked like that guy on the internet, right? I mean, more than the kingpins in the industry. That was within about a week or two. I got, because of the stronghold action for those video testimonials, I got literally almost 1,000 video testimonials that people emailed out to their list trying to win some testimonial competition that I made to get me video testimonials. So now you look me up online, and all of a sudden there's more articles about Dave Wood than there is about Mike Dillard. All of a sudden you look me up online, and there's middle-aged guys, and there's black girls who are really attractive, and there's like single moms, and there's doctors, and there's network marketing legends all ranting and raving about Dave Wood. And you're looking up and you say, who's this guy? And then all of a sudden all of the social resistances and all of the things that you'd normally have to overcome to be able to sell a lot of stuff, they're just gone, guys. They're just gone. You know, they don't exist anymore. And from that day, what happened is I went from grinding to sponsor 2 people a day to sponsoring 2 people a day without doing anything. I went from grinding to get leads coming to my website to people just going to my website and opting in because they were literally looking for my site and looking for a place to opt into my website, guys. I went from nobody to somebody that was broken out of the struggle in one webinar. And that's really the meta strategy, if you will, behind how I'm thinking all the time in my business. See, here's what I want you guys to think about who are on here. You know, we've got this event coming up in Miami, okay? And most of you guys are going to the event in Miami. And if you're not, by the way, there's a discount link for members of a promotion that we're running for a after Christmas sale. And I think the code is, if you click on Get Your Tickets Now, I think it's the button. I don't actually even know. But if you click that button right now, you can log in. The code is Freedom. Huh?
Dave, the code, they have to have that code. The code is Freedom 2014.
Yeah, it's your username, your password for Empower Network, Freedom 2014. And what I wanted to say, and I know, Dave, this is like you were asking me lots of questions, but I just kind of like ranted and raved about like what I'm actually doing here for like 30 minutes. I think that's actually good enough. But you can ask more questions too here in a second. But guys, you want to get to that event because that event is what it really is it's an exposure hub. You know what I mean? If you look at really what you want to be doing. Now, this is not a place to walk around hawking stuff. We're not going to be like hawking stuff in every speech from stage. We're going to be sitting there giving you value for days on how to create freedom, time freedom, and financial independence in your business. We're going to be sitting there with you in the room in private workshops that we're going to have on video marketing, on article marketing, on paid strategies. We're going to be having hands-on training to get you from where you are to where you want to be based on a lot of feedback that we've gotten from our different events. And this event really is going to be a game changer, and you need to bring as many people with you as you can bring. And if you log in right now, what I would do is I would buy at least 3 tickets and bring your spouse and bring somebody else, right? And we'll be talking more about that here in a little bit. But in any case, guys, that's kind of the process that I went through to go from nobody to somebody where a lot of people were talking about you. What you want to do between now and the event in Miami, if you're in Empower Network, is this is a special time. You see, guys, let's look at direct sales just for a second, and let's look at trends over the courses of years. If you guys want to look at what happens in direct sales and what happens in internet marketing, is there are the best times to be involved and there are the best times to be promoting where growth is easy and you go through periods of explosion, and there are times where it goes through periods of struggle, right? The best months for network marketing, the best ever, every single year, the best months for selling stuff on the internet, on how to change your life, on how to make more money and things like that. The best months are from now after Christmas through the couple of months after January. It is the easiest time of the year to build an income story. It is the easiest time of year to sell stuff. It is the easiest time of year to get people to buy. And what I want to challenge you to do today on today's webinar is to make a plan for you and your family how you're going to break out in 2014. To make a plan between now and the event, how you're going to create a little story between now and the event, and then utilize what's going to happen at the event, which, by the way, none of you even know. It's just too good. To utilize what's going to happen at the event to create a bigger breakout story coming out of the event. How can you, coming out of that event, get an army of people kind of shouting your name, if you will, right? I'll tell you the best way to do it is to make a decision that you're going to be there no matter what, and between now and the next 3.5 or 4 weeks, you are going to bring as many people as you humanly possibly can bring to that event with you. Get them in a room and to lay out a strategy to explode your team. And you can literally go from nobody to somebody like Tony Rush or somebody like Justin Berengia. You guys really want to know how Justin Berengia is making as much money as he's making? Yes, he's doing paid strategies. Yes, he's writing articles. I'll tell you how he's doing it. Justin Berengia is smart in the sense that he goes out there and he inspires and he empowers people and he constantly gives value to them and he gives them reasons. He gives them reasons to be sharing his face with everybody and talking about him and utilizing his resources in order to help them get better results. And because of that, he's surrounded by an army that's giving him this swarm of edification that gives him a position of social power that there's no other way to explain that when people go to see Justin Berengia, they feel like they're walking into the presence of a prophet or something like that. Guys, there's an ability that you can have between now and the event in Miami to be able to create a different level of results in your business. There's an ability that you have that's unique, that's special to be able to break out in your business because of the time of the year and because of what we're doing at the event. There's an ability that you have to make 2014 be the year that you break through in your business. And if you haven't done it yet, what I want you to do is I want you to click the button right now. The code is Freedom2014. And I want you to log in and buy event tickets. And if you're not in, sorry, you can't go to the event. You know, our events are for members only. They're for people only who are committed to their vision. You know, we don't want you to go to the event if you're going to, you know, drag your negative energy across like as many bodies as you possibly can. We don't want you to go to the event if you're going to complain about everything or have some huge kind of ego or if you're going to be an asshole. We don't want you to go, right? This event is not for hawking you stuff, so we don't want you to come to the event with the expectation of being sold something at everything single speech. But what I do want you to do is I want you to come to the event. I want you to make a decision to go to the event, to right now click the button, write in Freedom 2014, buy at least 3 event tickets. I want you to bring your family to the event with humility in your spirit, with a humble attitude that you're going to learn something this year that's going to absolutely transform your destiny. With that in mind, I want you to go to the event and take advantage of this now and lock in your seats, because I believe we're actually almost sold out of the event tickets, so you want to make sure that they're in. I actually don't even know how long we're running the special. I got distracted a little bit today by being 40 minutes late for my live stream, so I wanted you guys to just kind of know a little bit of the framework. Now, what I'm going to be doing at the event, in addition to what I just laid out for you here, is I'm going to be doing teaching some special strategies on how to construct a strategy to gain massive viral exposure like that. Because it's not just, see, this is the difference between, you know, this is the difference between struggling all the time and having to be a mechanic in your business to where you're operating your life by math, right? And being able to just be able to go to the beach and sink your toes into the hot sand and be able to live your life while there's like 100,000 people out there writing articles about you, making videos about you, and shouting your name and getting it to where you can go out there and you can produce in your business with literally like 100th of the effort. This is the difference. And so what I'm going to be doing, for those of you who buy event tickets right now, if you get at least 3 event tickets, what I'll do, and this is actually going out in another offer, is I'm going to be doing a couple of strategy live streams like the ones that you have, the ones that you, you know, like going over some of these concepts where, for those of you who at least get the tickets and make a decision to go to the event, guys, don't just buy the tickets. I want you to buy the tickets, but don't buy those tickets if you're not going to go. I'm not one of these people that's going to come up and say, oh, just buy the tickets and then don't go. I don't need the money for it. What I want to encourage you to do is I want to encourage you to buy the tickets and do whatever you've got to do to actually get to that event in Miami with as big of an army as you can possibly get, because I'm going to be laying out some strategies on specifically how to create that kind of social influence to where you can be the one that is out there in front of everybody all the time. You know, I heard a wise man tell me a long time ago, he says, you want to know the real secret? He says, to creating results and to creating them effortlessly once this is set up. He says, I'm not saying it's going to be effortless to set it up. That's different. Guys, setting up your social construct is not an effortless process. But once it's set up, he says, you want to know the secret to getting effortless results from that construct? He says, I'll tell you what the secret is. He says, wherever somebody looks, there you are. And I'm going to show you guys how to do that. And to me, that is not a skill that that's a $200 or $100 skill. For me, that's a skill, that's a mindset, that's a way of strategic thinking that is a $10,000 skill. So I want you to make a decision right now, on the day after Christmas, that you are going to have. This is the time to set New Year's resolution, folks. This is the time to go out there and create a kind of magical result. This is the time to make new decisions in your life and your business. This is the time that you can break through and do things in a new way. Click the button right now. Use the code FREEDOM2014. Log in with your username and password right now, and I want you to buy at least 3 event tickets and bring your spouse, your lover, whatever it is, and at least one new person to the event, right? Because we're going to show you how to be that person that breaks out, because that's what freedom is really all about. What freedom is really all about is about breaking out. It's about breaking through the barriers that stop normal people from being able to create unbelievable kinds of results. It's about breaking through walls and breaking through boundaries and breaking through borders and being able to go out there and to design the life that you want to live, like you're an artist painting your life onto a canvas in the universe and just making it happen. That's what freedom is about. That's what the event in Miami is all about. I want you to click the button right now, log in, and buy the tickets, and I'll see you at Freedom 2014. So, Dave, I know you were going to sit there and ask me questions. I don't know if you actually have any questions or if we should just turn it over to you. but that was my rant and rave about how to get traffic. That was probably totally different than what everybody expecting, guys. I'm not a technical trainer. We've got a lot of good ones in Empower Network. They're going to be having workshops at the event, at the Freedom event. What I am is I'm a values and principle-based trainer, and that's why I got a lot of people around me who are really good at different types of skills and different types of training, who are good at conveying different kinds of messages, because I allow them to be who they want to be in their business. And so get to Freedom 2014, and Dave, over to you. Did you want to ask me more questions, or do you want me to just kind of like flip it back and ask you stuff, or do you want to just rant and rave? I'm good with whatever.
No, man. I mean, I think that was good stuff. I mean, I think for a lot of people, what most people kind of look at when they come online is they look at. Hold on a second here. I think what a lot of people think about or focus on when they get started in their business is basically they're looking at a lot of the wrong things. I know when I first got started, I was looking at a lot of the same things that you were looking at when you first got started, and then as I watched other people, and that was, I think, one of the most important things for me, was I started to kind of watch other people and watch what they were doing. And a lot of things just started to make sense and click for me. I think for a lot of people, you've got to watch, and this is kind of one of the things that I want you guys to realize, is that you've got to kind of focus and watch what people are doing, not particularly what they're saying. A lot of times, it's so easy to get sucked into the marketing of just, when people are marketing. I mean, it just is. So one of the things that I think will help you, especially if you're brand new, is to focus on what people are doing and watching what they're doing, opposed to listening to what they're saying. It's so easy to get confused if you're not focusing on the simplicity of the business. If you watch pretty much anybody in any industry who's really succeeding at a high level, really they're doing the same things. That most of the time they're doing the same things. They're creating what you were talking about, Dave, and that was powerful because it's true. The majority of the times, if you look even at rappers, man, or you look at musicians, there's a rapper called Lil Wayne. A lot of you who know who Lil Wayne is. Dave, you may not know who Lil Wayne is. This guy is literally on almost just every song on the radio. Seriously, every song on the radio, you turn it on, here's this dude, Lil Wayne. There's another female artist. Her name's Rihanna. Now, just, 4 or 5 months ago, I was over in Scotland, and the headliner on Saturday night was Rihanna, right? And I just thought to myself, is Rihanna really that popular? And I said, what songs does she sing? And we started to look up some of the songs that she sings, Aaron and I, and we realized that, like, literally 7 out of the top 10 most played songs on radio were Rihanna. They weren't all Rihanna's songs, though. They were different songs that Rihanna was collaborating on or featured in, that she was able to get her face and her name out there. So then she could get the edification and the legitimacy like what Beyonce just did. And this is a little bit of a kind of a completely different industry, but it gives you this unique analogy to be able to see what we're talking about here. Because I've done the same thing that you did, Dave, now kind of in my business. By just getting my face out there, you kind of gain this level of legitimacy and credibility to where people know, like, trust you. They know, they seek you out. No longer do you really even have to generate ads or put out, run ads, because people are kind of coming to your site in the hundreds of thousands just looking for your stuff. But Beyonce, and a lot of you know who Beyonce is. She's married to Jay-Z. She's super popular, one of the most popular female pop artists in the world. She just released an album, and she did absolutely no promotion, no marketing for it whatsoever, and she sold 600,000 units the first 24 hours or something like that. Now, this was just literally leaking it onto iTunes with no promotion. Nobody knew it was coming. It was literally a surprise. There was no advertisements, no nothing on radio, anything like that. 600,000 units sold within 24 hours. Now, I may be misquoting that a little bit, but it was some absurd number like that. Well, how was she able to do that? Same thing what Dave was talking about, and this is sort of what we've done here over the course of the last couple of years, is we've created credibility and legitimacy by getting our face out there. And what we've done is we've done it kind of in a different way, but you can also do it following the same formula. We've done it by going out there and creating marketing material, and then thousands of people have promoted that marketing material. For you, and the question is, how do you do this just getting started? And I do the same things that you would do, that I'm going to suggest that you do just getting started right now. First and foremost, you've got to ask yourself, what kind of content are you creating and putting out there on the internet? For the majority of the people, they're always trying to sell something. And what you've got to realize and recognize is that if you're always trying to sell something, the people who are always selling hardly sell anything. Because there's a formula to selling stuff. And it's not being a great pitch man. Being a great pitch man is good when you've got a 30-second commercial slot and you need to fit a lot into a little. But if you're trying to build a long-term sustainable business, what you've got to understand is that you've got to build relationships and not kind of run people off. So what I see the majority of the time, what people are posting and creating online, is they're creating real salesy, real heavy, real schemy type marketing material that nobody, number one, is sharing, nobody's commenting on, nobody wants to be seen looking at that content, because if they are seen looking at that content, like, say, example, if they share it or they leave a comment and it goes and posts on their Facebook profile, then everybody else will see that person's post trying to sell stuff, and then essentially they're promoting this person's post who's trying to sell stuff. So what you need to ask yourself is, am I selling or am I giving value? And what you need to start doing is the same thing that I realized a long time ago when I was doing nothing but selling stuff and just people weren't buying, because I was always in selling mode. And now I sell without selling. So what do? I go on Facebook, for example, and I share value-driven, inspirational stuff. And the way that I sell opposed to providing value is about an 80-20 rule. Okay? And this is kind of what we do for the most part in Empower too. If you see on this webinar, we are telling you need to go to the event. And this is kind of a good example because you're able to see it kind of live and in person. You do need to go to the event. Absolutely, no doubt. At this event, we're going to be doing workshops. We're going to be talking about traffic. We're going to be talking about email marketing. We're going to be talking about copywriting. We're going to be talking about high-level influence and sales persuasion. I'm going to be talking about leadership. We're going to be talking about how to really what most of you are missing, which is kind of getting your family and your support group involved in what you're doing in your life, because actually it's really not traffic and leads that most of you really need. It's to know that you have people behind you supporting you and feeling confident about building your business. We're going to be talking about how to get people engaged. I know because I've been through that personal experience. So there's no doubt that you need to go to this event, period. The event code is Freedom 2014. You can write it down right now if you want to make sure you don't forget it. Freedom 2014. Hit the button below this video. But on this webinar, apart to telling you that you need to get to the event, we're also obviously teaching you, and it's about an 80-20 separation or difference. So in your business, what I want to challenge you to look at and be honest, because I've sat down. I was in New York a couple of weeks ago with one of our top leaders, Paulo Barossa. He's doing a multiple six-figure income, and I went to his Facebook profile with him sitting literally right next to me, and we looked at his Facebook profile, and he may be on this webinar, and I'm just telling the truth, and he'll tell the truth too. This guy's brilliantly talented, but the way that he was communicating on his Facebook profile and the way that he was communicating to his market was more salesy, opposed to really conveying his personality. And what you've got to do is you've got to realize that you've got a story, okay? And you've got to kind of craft and create that story so people get engaged with it. Because at the end of the day, you and human beings in general are they're much more likely to want to engage, share, comment on, refer to other people, and buy from somebody who has a story. I was sitting down yesterday, and we were sitting around the Christmas kind of dinner table, just got done with dinner, and my aunt had given my mom this necklace, and it ended up being what she told me was she said, well, yeah, it's this company that was created by this 16-year-old girl, and she wanted to buy a car, and so she started this business and started to save money, and now this business is another network marketing company. And I thought to myself, gosh, that sounds familiar. I know that story. So I went up and I Googled it and I looked up and I researched it, and it was another network marketing company. I said, who'd you buy that? Did you buy it from a store or a rep? She said it was just a rep, a friend of mine. I said, that's a network marketing company. I know who that is because I've got friends, family members of people who work at Empower that work for that company. But the idea is that she didn't start off telling me about the product. She started off telling me about the story behind the company. So here's the question that you've got to ask yourself: is how do people view me, not how do I view me? In the majority of the time, there's a major disconnect between the way that everybody else views you and how you actually view yourself. In your own mind, you may be a legend in your own mind. For me, I know for many years I was just this, highly talented, highly skilled person that should be succeeding, and I just didn't have any idea why I wasn't. Well, it was because the information that I was putting out to the world didn't match how I really felt. I wanted to share my story. I wanted to inspire people. I wanted to build value, but I was so dependent I needed to put $1 in my pocket so bad that I wasn't allowing my creative freedom and flow to actually be communicated out into the marketplace, and I was always just trying to sell stuff. So how does this translate into traffic generation? Well, here's what I discovered, and we've got a lot of people kind of working for us in the background, driving traffic, testing different campaigns, trying stuff that works, realizing stuff that doesn't work. And what we realized is that we can go out there and we can buy just tens of thousands of dollars worth of traffic and just drive it right to a capture page. We can do that, and we can do that all day long. That's somewhat how I built my business. When I first got started, I would go on and I would just, instead of going and buying a course or waiting for somebody to do it for me, I actually just went into Facebook, and I actually just started to create marketing campaigns and just create ads, and I just failed forward. I mean, no doubt that I wasted money, but I set myself, especially when I first got started, with a budget of about $20 a day, and I'd go and I'd just fail forward, and I would learn how to do it on my own. I would go and I would create my ads, and you can do this too. I would create all of my ads, and I still do this, ask Dave. I still design capture pages and ads, or anytime that I need to personally create something, I just pull up Keynote, or if you've got a PC, it's PowerPoint, and I just create the image or the graphic or the ad right in Keynote. I'd take a picture of it with a screen capture software, and I would upload it into Facebook, and I would run my ads that way. It's not difficult to do that, but what we've realized is that you can either go and you can build your business based on quantity, or you can build your business based on quality. And for a lot of you, you don't have the budget to be able to build based on quantity. Some of you do. There's some of you on this hangout who have tens of thousands of dollars each month to go out and try different traffic sources and give this person $5,000 or this person $5,000 or run $10,000 worth of Facebook ads, or run, if you found a way to get back on Google, or if you're going and placing banners on people's websites. you've got the ability to be able to do that. But for most of you, you don't. So you have to understand the difference between quantity marketing and quality marketing. So what we discovered, and this was kind of fascinating, was that we could build a relationship with people that were cold visitors to our website by putting them through a filter process to where we were telling them our story before, and building credibility before we put them into a capture page or into a sales funnel. So here's kind of what it looks like. We would run an ad, whether it was a Facebook ad or whether it was an ad on somebody's blog, and usually we do these two separate ways. On Facebook, what we would do is whether it was a sponsored post, and usually sponsored post you can tell a story in the post, but say it was an ad over on the side. We would run that ad to an actual Facebook post, and in that Facebook post we would tell our story, right? I wouldn't try to run the person right to a capture page without them knowing anything about me. I would take them to a sponsored post or to a Facebook post to where there was anywhere from 5 to 10 paragraphs of our story, right, or a part of our story, to where somebody had the opportunity to be able to get to know us a little bit better and kind of build a relationship with us. And then in that Facebook post, there is a link then to click to go through to the sales funnel, go through to the capture page. That one element right there, because here's the dirty little secret about getting traffic, and this is what I learned, and this was kind of a little bit of a shocker to me, is that the majority of the times the capture pages that are converting at 60 and 70 and 80% on the front end, people are not buying on the back end because they're not qualified enough. They're kind of just putting their email in based on curiosity, and then they get in to watch the sales video and they realize that it's not really what they wanted. So what we're doing more on the front end by kind of telling them our story and kind of letting them know what they're about to see is we're actually qualifying people a little bit more, because we're working in quality, not quantity. It's not just about driving 10,000 people into a capture page and hoping that 1 or 2% of them buy something. It's about driving 10 people into a sales funnel in getting 1 to 2 of those people to buy something because of the relationship that we've built with them based on the story that we've told them and the emotional connection that we've created. It's a completely different way of doing business, and it's how Empower has gotten to the size that it is right now, and it's how Dave and I have kind of built the followings that we've built, because we've created a story around our business. We've created a story around our marketing. You can also do it in if you're marketing, and this is going to be big for a lot of you who are just out there kind of trying to find traffic sources. What I want you to start looking at generating traffic, I want you to start looking at it more of an art instead of a science. Everything about life is art, okay? And yes, there's scientific formulas, but the only thing that's absolute is math, right? It just is. Everything else in life is art. It's not science. There's not a specific formula. So if you've been kind of telling yourself or searching for some sort of a secret formula to generating traffic and getting leads and sales, it's not there. It's all art. And if you look at all of the different leaders and all the different people who are creating tremendous results, they've all got a little bit of their own unique style. And one way that you can do this that's just absolutely different than 99% of people are doing it is a lot of people get in and they have a budget, right? And then they go and they find somebody who's supposedly an expert, and they go and they rely on them to get traffic for them. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, because sometimes that works out. But what I think is more important for you to do when you first get started is I think it's more important for you to go out there and test your own marketing. I think it's important for you to go out there and invest your own money into figuring out what works and kind of how the internet works, to kind of create your own ads, to get to know kind of how the process works a little bit. Let me give you an example. I know a guy, and I'm not going to say his name, in Empower. He's making multiple 6 figures just going to different high traffic blogs, and he'll go to a blog, he'll find a blog, for example, maybe type in a way to find blogs that are getting a lot of traffic are, number one, you can go to alexa.com. That's Alexa.com, Alexa.com. I think that's how you spell it, but it's a web kind of, it's a web ranking website. or company. And you can go there and you can just literally look at the top, most traffic sites in the entire world, and you can go to those sites and you can see if they will accept advertisers on their site. The other way to do it, which is a really simple way, is to Google in make money online, or Google in affiliate marketing, or Google in whatever a term is that people are going to be typing in to look for different opportunities to do whatever it is that you're selling. If you're selling some sort of a personal development product like the Inner Circle, you might go and you might say, strength. You might type in strengthen your mind, or a personal development training, or sales training, and look for websites, look for blogs on that first or second page of Google that have advertisers, that allow advertisers on their site. And you can go and then you can email or contact that person and say, hey, how much would it cost for me to put a little 250 pixel by 250 pixel banner on your website? And the majority of the time it's $100, it's $50, right? Sometimes it's even $25. Maybe if it's a more traffic site, it might be it might be more expensive, right? It might be a couple of $100. But for a lot of you, that's one of the easiest ways that you could go out there and start to kind of create your own results and get in the process yourself. Here's one thing that I want to warn you about, especially in any business, is to go out there and try to hire somebody else to do something for you before you actually know how to do it yourself. It's kind of like what we did here at Empower. Dave and I were president and CEO of the company. We kind of ran the company, but we made all of the high-level decisions. We made all of the executive hires and fires. We kind of built the infrastructure of the company, or at least got it in place, before we went out there and we hired a CEO. Now, a lot of you know we recently hired a CEO, Jonathan Cronstead. He came over from Digital Marketer. Brilliant guy. But what if we would have just tried to hire Jonathan just right out of the gate without actually knowing what it is or how to run our company? He would have maybe been doing things that we wouldn't have known whether they were right or wrong, or looked right or felt right, right? But we actually know kind of what to look for because we've already done it ourselves. A lot of you, let me see if I can get out of the sun here real quick, because the sun's starting to beat down in this area of my house here, coming through that window. For a lot of you, you're trying to do things in your business that you're trying to hire other people to do things for you that you have no clue how to do, so you don't know whether you're getting good results or not because you've never actually done it yourself, right? Does that make sense? If this is making sense to you guys and you guys are getting a lot of value out of this, I want you to just share something here down in the comments, just so I know you guys are engaged here. And this is the other thing that I want you guys to do. As my voice continues to get scratchier and scratchier because I'm just coming off of this this little bug that I zapped the other day that's still kind of creeping up on me. If you got your tickets to Miami, I want you to let us know. And more importantly than letting me know, I want you to let somebody know in this hangout who needs to see that people are going to be there, that it's the right thing to do, that they're at the right place at the right time, and that this event in Miami is going to absolutely be the most transformational event that we've ever done. If you've got your tickets, I want you to go ahead and post that you've got your tickets below this video here on this page, and let people know that you're going to be meeting us in Miami. So, with that being said, guys, what I want you guys to really start to realize what in your marketing and what you're doing here on a daily basis is that you're in full control of the results that you get. You really are. You're in full control. And here's the big dirty secret that nobody's talking about, because there's too many whiz-bam gadgets. There's too many, push 1-2 button solutions that when you just do this one thing, you're going to have $1 million appear in your bank account tomorrow. Nobody's talking about what it really takes to be an entrepreneur. Nobody's talking about what it really takes to be a marketer. And do you want to know the truth? What it really takes to make a lot of money in this business? It really takes you getting your hands dirty and figuring out what the hell really makes this thing tick. What the hell really makes the difference inside of your business? What the hell is it that David Wood really did back in 2009, 2010, and now continued on for these last couple of years that's made him one of the most influential guys on the internet? What the hell is it that I've done that's taken me from being a ninth grade dropout who still can't spell worth a damn, right? And who has allowed me to go from a bumbling, stumbling buffoon to being one of the most inspirational speakers and communicators and even copywriters in the game, right? What is it really that has been the one thing or the two things that's allowed me to do that? What about Vic? Somebody who, English is not even his native language, right? But he's become one of the most inspirational and influential communicators and marketers, just plain brilliant marketers on the internet. Justin Varengia, somebody who couldn't pay his rent a year ago, 18 months ago, is now traveling all over the world. What is it that really took these guys over the edge? I'll tell you what. It's not a secret that they discovered. It's that they had just the absolute drive and passion to not give up and to think outside of the box. See, I got clean 5.5 years ago, and I was out there in the streets literally fending for myself. I mean, I was homeless. I had to feed myself. I didn't have a job. I had to kind of hustle up all of these things when I was using. I was homeless, running out on the streets. So I was smart as hell. I mean, it obviously takes somebody who understands how to make stuff happen to be able to survive in that type of environment. And I was clearly that guy. All of a sudden I got clean and I met a guy named Lewis, a little short Puerto Rican guy, one of the most influential guys in my life. And when I got clean, I was walking around acting like I didn't know how to make decisions. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to the grocery store, and what do I buy? Or, hey, I'm going to take Erin out on a date. Where do I take her? Or I'm getting my daughter this weekend to spend time with her. What should I do with her? And after about a week of listening to me talk like this, Lewis stopped me. And he said, Dave, you got clean. You didn't get stupid. And for a lot of you, here's what I've got to say to you today. You got in business. You didn't get stupid. Think for yourself. Some of you come from different backgrounds. Some of you come from successful careers. Some of you come from all kinds of amazing, experiences that you've had and done, that you've been successful in up until this point. Some of you have been unbelievably successful mothers. Some of you have been successful fathers. Some of you have been successful at a previous career. Some of you are successful right now at another career, and you're involved in your business right now acting like you don't know what you should do. And the truth of the matter is you do know what you should do, and you need to step into that power and start thinking for yourself. This business is about not thinking outside of the box. It's about not having a box in the first place. There are no rules. What I just heard Dave Wood say was that he literally created his own destiny. He literally created his own success. Am I right about that, Dave? Nobody laid that out for you. You discovered and kind of created your own reality in your own kind of personality online. That people you went from a guy who was working in your mom's basement in Alaska to creating literally, and I believe that webinar that you did back 3 or 4 years ago, you were still living there. So here you were with all of this success and people writing articles about you and how great you were, and you were still living at your mom's house. That's the power of what you can do in this business. It doesn't matter where you're at right now, because you can literally create your own story and you can create your own reality. So the question is this: what have you been wasting time and money on up until this point, going for things that make no sense about your business? Have you been going for quality, or have you been going for quantity? And I can tell you that in this business, it's all about quality, not quantity, because the majority of the times, there's about 1% of people who can afford to focus on quantity. And I'm going to tell you something. The majority of those people are not here on this webinar. There's probably a couple on this webinar, but the majority of you need to focus on quality. I don't focus on quantity either. I focus on quality, because what would I rather have? Would I rather have somebody who I've placed a banner advertisement on somebody's blog, and then instead of drove them to a capture page and maybe got the opt-in, I drove them to a blog post and let them read the blog post and build a relationship with them. And at the end of the blog post, I get them to click a link and then go to a capture page. Guys, we've tested this, and I've got guys who are much smarter than me at traffic stuff who have tested this. And yes, you get less opt-ins, but you get much more sales. And I think the biggest secret in traffic out there is that people are focused on leads, not sales. I don't give a damn how many opt-ins you got today. I see a lot of screen captures out there that somebody got 500 or 600 leads today and he got one sale. Well, what's the conversion of that? The reason why you're not converting is because you're not building a relationship with your list. You're not building a relationship with your leads. The one thing that I can tell you that was the changing point in my business was I was building my business just probably like everybody else is out there right now, kind of randomly shooting videos and trying to teach stuff and trying to sell stuff. And one day I was listening to Jeffrey Combs. And there's a lot of mentors and people who I've learned a lot of stuff from over the years. I used to go and download Jeffrey's calls. I'd listen to his live call on Tuesday, and then I'd listen to his other call. I've been listening to audio for a long time. I listen to other people now. I listen to people in Empower now. I listen to the Inner Circle now. I believe we've got the single-handedly most quality assortment and variety of audios that you can get just because of the amount of talent that we have here. So if you don't own the Inner Circle, you've got to get that. You've got to start listening to audio because it'll change your life. But I was listening to an audio back years ago, and I was clearly have the same story that I still have. I was homeless, had struggled with addiction, alcoholism, so on and so forth. But I was afraid to talk about it. And one day I was listening to a call, and I heard Combs talk about the fact that he was an alcoholic. Now, I don't know that he really goes into the depths of his story like I do. But what that did was that it inspired me to go out there and talk about my story. So I did a webinar, and I actually one night talked about who I really was, what I've been struggling with in my story, and I've talked about this a million times. And from that point on, that night, right after the webinar, I shut the computer down because I was just afraid of the response I was going to get, whether people were going to judge me or say you loser or you scumbag or whatever. And the truth of the matter, what people did was they said, holy shit, dude, I can relate to your story, man. And that was the most powerful thing that I've ever heard on a marketing training call because I talked about where I came from. And more people bought than had ever bought from me from anything in my entire life. I mean, it was unbelievable. The commission notification. I don't know if you've ever just had an email inbox to where the commission notifications just were piling up, but that's what happened to me that night. And from that day forward, I learned to start to focus on quality in building a relationship. And here's the power of generating traffic online, is that if you put out a piece of content, okay, whether it's a Facebook post, okay, and you can, for example, I'll go over here on my Facebook page the other day. I wanted to post something that not only addressed people, airing their dirty laundry on Facebook, but I also wanted to post something that was going to get like massive viral exposure. And I'll read the post, but it's on my Facebook page right now. Let me read what it says. Pull it up here real quick. It's very short. It says, spamming Facebook with your drama is uncool, makes you look needy, dramatic, and childish. If you have an internet connection and access to Facebook, you're not a victim of life, you're a volunteer. Take responsibility for your actions. Positive things are waiting to happen for you, but they won't start until you stop thinking life is happening to you. Share this. Somebody in your friends list probably needs to hear this. Now, that post got shared over 300 times. Okay, 300 shares on Facebook. Why? Well, first and foremost, it was content that our industry loves. I mean, if you want to get network marketers rallied around anything that you're doing, go out there and talk about jobs, or go out there and talk about mediocrity, or go out there and talk about people being average, or go out there and talk about people giving up or quitting or, being negative. I tell you, you've got to know your industry. You've got to know the type of people that you're around. People love that. I love that. If Wood posts that, I'm sharing it. Just what? Because it pumps me up. I'm just the weird dude who just, doesn't settle for just being average in life and just am where I'm at because I didn't quit. So 300 shares. It's also, I told people to share that, right? So you've also got to understand that people need to be told what to do. And that goes back in, we talked about that in the Viral Blogging Academy. If you don't own that, I think you could still get that. But I talked about that the other night. You've got to give people clear calls to action. The point that I'm trying to make here with this is that the content that you're posting out there, if you want people to engage in it, if you want people to share it, if you want people to constantly come to your page and come to your blog or come to your site and do what Dave was talking about, which was creating kind of that the traffic that you don't have to pay for, that people just search you out for, you have to stop always trying to sell stuff and start selling more stealthily, if that makes sense. It's about creating goodwill and providing sometimes controversial content, sometimes saying things that other people are afraid to say, and being inspirational, and then mixing in sales stuff with that. You've also got to tell your story. You've got to tell your story. I can't, I've talked about this probably almost every time I speak, and I've taught on it a million times. You've got to tell your story. You've got to understand and realize that people connect with your story. They don't connect with what you're selling. They don't connect with all of the gadgets and gizmos and the benefits and the price points. Listen, somebody will buy something for $10,000 if they feel compelled and inspired by the person who's selling it, while at the same time, somebody might not buy something that they absolutely need because they just don't feel compelled or inspired to do it. I mean, every single day people are doing things out there in the marketplace, spending money out of just an emotional, inspirational type of compulsive decision where, there's health memberships, there's healthy food, there's, weights and all kinds of different things that people could be doing for themselves, going to therapy, all of these different things that they actually need that they just don't feel inspired to do for some reason because somebody hasn't inspired them to do that. You've got to be the person that inspires people to want to take action. And it's not always about positive thinking. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not a positive thinking type guy. I'm a guy that is the one who understands that you've got to jar up and you've got to stir up the emotions inside of somebody that gets them to want to do something, because people most of the time move on emotion and then they realize what they did logically after they did it. So that's about it for today, guys. I mean, I want to really get you guys more than anything to start thinking differently about how you build your business. I want you to start realizing that you are the one who can create your own success. You don't have to wait on somebody else to do it. I'll never forget, in pretty much every single time I've had a sponsor, from my very first sponsor in network marketing until my very last sponsor before we started Empower, has been somebody who has not been there holding my hand. I've gone out there and I've figured it out on my own. I've gone out there when Dave and I met, I was crushing it because I went out there and figured out how to run ads on Facebook and figured out how to get results, and I figured it out myself. You can do that. There is absolutely nothing stopping you, but here's what I've got to tell you today is you've got to realize that you got in business. You didn't get stupid. You didn't all of a sudden sign up for Empower Network and just somebody hit you on the top of the head with a hammer and now all of a sudden you're brain dead. You've got to use your experience and your stories and your success from what you've done up until this point and translate that over to here. The only difference between what we're doing and what you've succeeded at before is it's just in a different environment. It's just, the only thing is it's a different field. It's like going from, if you can play basketball, you can learn how to play baseball because you're an athlete, right? If you've succeeded as a mother or you've succeeded at a job somewhere, you can learn how to build this business. You can learn how to change whatever it is you need to change or transform in your life. Why? Because the dynamics of success are the same regardless of what you do. You've got to be able to think for yourself, though, and you've got to be able to recognize what is working and what's not. And for a lot of you, we're going to be teaching and talking about that live in Miami. I'm excited personally about Miami, first and foremost, because we're going to be doing some things that we've never done before. Workshops, okay, Saturday morning, all from the morning into the afternoon. We're going to be doing workshops that you're going to have the opportunity to be able to actually choose which workshop you want to go to. We're going to be talking about traffic. We're going to be talking about influence. There's going to be several different topics, and you're going to be able to choose. You can go to one of them, two of them, lots of them. There'll be multiple ones each hour. Different leaders will be training on and talking about, so you can have the opportunity to get more of a hands-on experience like you would get at more of a workshop type environment. We're also going to be rolling out something Saturday afternoon that is going to transform the direction of what we're doing in 2014. We've brought in some new people, some new minds. We've added some real key players to the team, and we've been in the drawing boards. I was down in Costa Rica last 2 or 3 weeks ago. We sat for a week in Dave's house mapping out all the things that are wrong and all the things that are right. And what we've decided to focus on in 2014 is you. It's you, not technology, not trying to be, the Apple, but focus on the people and start to raise up the leader. So you have new opportunities, and you're going to have new opportunities to be able to shine and get the exposure that Dave was talking about that will absolutely change your business. And I'm telling you, if you want to get traffic like nobody can get traffic, get people knowing who you are, get people searching you out and looking for you to where you don't ever have to run an ad. You want to know the dirty little secret? Is most big leaders don't do a whole lot of paid advertising because they don't need to, right? They don't need to. They've got their face out there. They've created a brand for themselves, and they've created a story for themselves. And for you, you could do the same exact thing. That's it. Miami is all I'm going to say, Dave, is look, dude, I know what's going on down there, and we're still kind of working through some things, but that event is just going to be sick in a way that we're going to redefine the word badass. You guys can get your tickets. We're going to take this discount down here very shortly after this call. We may take it down right as soon as the call finishes. Dave said buy 3 tickets. I really think you should buy a package of 5 to 10. Here's why. Number one, I think you should bring your spouse, okay? It's so important to bring your spouse, okay? Erin, and I'm going to shoot a video with Erin, my fiance, here in this week. I'll tell you what really created a unbelievable connection and support with Erin and I. It was her going to an event. I want you to think about this for those of you who have got family there who are maybe not getting behind you or supporting you the way that you really need them to support you. Is all they see is you having a relationship with your computer. It really. You're either on the phone all day long and you're talking to your phone, or you have a relationship with your computer. So they see you sitting in front of your beautiful computer that you know what's going on inside of there. And you're on Facebook and you see people and you're engaged and you know what's going on. But I want you to step outside of yourself and look at it from their perspective. Your kids, your wife, your friends, they look at you as you are just simply sitting there having a relationship. You're not spending time with them. You're spending time with your computer. What shifts and changes when they walk into a room of 5,000 people and they see 5,000 other people all doing the same thing that you're doing, all thinking like you think, all talking like you talk, with the same goals, with the same mindset. They're all excited. People are laughing and crying. There's breakthroughs being had. You go and you meet another couple, and you start to have a conversation about the same things that you've been through, right? I had a conversation, I'll never forget this, with Nicole Cooper and her husband. There was a little bit of we all go through this, guys. We're all human beings. And I had a conversation, and Aaron and I sat down with Cooper and Nicole. And I'm going to tell you, that was in San Diego. And she had just had the baby. I believe she just had the baby then. And they were going through some growing pains. And ever since San Diego, and we saw it in Austin, we saw it in Chicago, we saw it in Denver, we saw it in Orlando, and also in Dallas. That man is the most supportive husband I have ever seen in my entire life. Now, Dave, do you see him in the background, Cooper? He's taking pictures, right? He's like Mr. Photographer. He's cooking dinner. He's taking care of the kids. Why did that happen? Well, that happened because they came and they had a conversation. Nicole brought his butt, right, to an event and gave him the opportunity to sit down and talk to another couple who had been through the same thing. Dave, you did the same thing with Justin and Dee. They were struggling. And Justin and Dee will talk about this, and I'm not going to tell their story too much, but when they came to Atlanta, they were struggling. And Dave invited them down to his house, and he got them in a room, and they were able to have a conversation with people who also knew where they were at, right, and knew what they had been through.
And now look at them, right? Having a baby, about to, start a new chapter of their life. Guys, get your spouse to the event. I know it might be a stretch for some of you, but I'm telling you, it's the beginning of the year, and it's an opportunity for you to start a new, fresh chapter with your spouse or whoever you're in a relationship with that I'm telling you will pay off dividends for years to come and put you in a different mindset with your partner that you cannot get unless they're there with you. Here's why I think you should buy 5 to 10. I also think that you should bless somebody on your team with a ticket. There's somebody who's struggling who just needs you to invest in them a little bit. And when you invest in them just a little bit, by just a little token of appreciation, by saying, hey, listen, I'm not going to build your business for you. I'm not going to give you a handout, but here's what I am going to do. I'm going to meet you at the front door of the event with a ticket. And if you meet me there at that front door, I'm going to pay for you to get in. You got to get your butt there, but I'm going to pay for you to get into the event. And I'm going to tell you, for those of you who are on this call who have one person in your team, or 2 people in your team, or even 100 people in your team, doing that, especially for the leader, especially for the person who has the drive and the desire, who you know has the potential in investing in them like that, that is an investment that will pay you more dividends than any gold and I'm obviously not a finance. Let me give that big fat stinking ridiculous disclosure right up front. I'm not a financial advisor, but I've invested in people my entire marketing career, and look at what it's created for us, guys. It's created an army, an empire. It's created a lifestyle beyond our wildest dreams, and it's all because of we got rid of the box, right, of what we talked about today, and also because we invested in people. So Freedom 2014, if you got your tickets, let us know down in the comments right now. Seriously, just let us know that you're going to be there with your team, with your spouse, with your kids, whatever. If you've got a story about bringing your spouse to the event, I want you to just tell us in like a short sentence or a paragraph if it moved you, if it changed your relationship. Yes, Kevin Connect. I'm looking at the comments right now. I'm doing a video with Aaron. We sat down with a couple of leaders. I had a couple of leaders over at my house the other night here at Empower, and we just told the story of what Aaron and I have been through. And I'm going to tell you guys, from the outside, it looks like it's all peaches and cream. From the outside, it looks like it's just all been, we're just this happy couple who just goes through life and everything's perfect. We've worked our asses off. We've worked our asses off and sacrificed the shit out of a lot of our lives to make it to where we're at right now. She's sacrificed an unbelievable amount. I've sacrificed an unbelievable amount. We've been through pains. We've been through stuff. Shit, I worked so much at one point in my life, she walked out on me for a month, and I had to go back and apologize to her and let her know that I loved her and she meant everything in the world to me, and it was my fault that I was not learning how to have balance. We'll talk about that in this video. I just want you guys to know, regardless of what struggles you're going through right now, regardless of what challenges you're having right now, if you're on the upside of your life or the downside of your life, you feel like it can't get any better, get your ass to Miami. Get your ass to Miami and let us speak some damn inspiration and some belief into you and your spouse and your family for 2014 so we can crush this. Dave, final thoughts, my brother?
Yeah, I've got some thoughts, and I'll keep my final thoughts a little short because I actually got a jet. We're going to go down to the beach for a few days. I had my brother Aki come down for Christmas, and following the Blib tradition, he missed his flight twice, and is getting in a few hours here, and then me and my lady and Dave and his kids and his wife were going down and over to Guanacaste, Costa Rica. We're going to go chill out for a few. Guys, this is my thinking for all of you on here. You guys know what it is that you need to do in your business to get to the next level. I came to believe a long time ago that it's more powerful to bring out the skills and the talents from the inside of people than it is to tell you exactly and specifically what to do. Because what I've found in watching and building organizations is that, the interesting thing is no matter what we say, and what we tell people to do, everybody who's succeeding is doing something a little bit different, right? Is doing something a little bit different. If you look at the way Michelangelo Lopez built his business, I was doing a hangout with his team last week where I was breaking down the comp plan and showing everybody how to make more money in the organization and showing people how to upgrade more of their members and things like that. And how he built his business is different than the way Justin Varengia built his business. Now, a lot of the principles are going to be the same. A lot of the meta strategies are going to be the same. But you get down to the nitty-gritty, specifically what to do. The way Justin Varengia builds and the way Michelangelo builds, they're two different things. If you look at that and the way Kevin Knecht builds his business, it's two different things. If you look at the way David Sharp and I build our businesses, right, some things that we do are similar. We're both going to get on. We're both going to tell stories. We're both going to, do live presentations. We're both going to make sales materials. But the fundamental building blocks and the little nitty-gritty things of how we're doing it is different with Dave Sharp and I, is different with Tony Rush and myself, is different with Tracy Walker and Tony, is different than Aaron Rashkin and Tony. Everybody who's succeeding is doing things just a little bit different, and I found that it's more powerful to bring out the skills and talents in people because that actually lets them succeed and do it in a way that's utilizing all of the resources that you have inside to get the result that you want in your business. What the events are really there to do, you guys know you guys know you should go if you're an Empower Network. And if you don't know that you should go and you're an Empower Network, I'll help you. You should go, okay? You need to. And it's not just, it's not for hype. It's not, to show off flashy rings and flashy cars. Heck, I'm not even wearing my expensive watch today. It's not to drive the car and to say, hey, look at what Vic Strizhouse is doing, look at what Dave Wood's doing. It's not to brag and stuff like this. It's not the purpose of anything we do. And I hope any time that we are sharing results, not only do you realize that you're going to have to work if you want to produce those results, but I hope that what you're hearing us say is not, look what I have done. I hope you're hearing me say, look what you can do. Because that's what this is really about, is about what you can do. Because I promise you that there's something that you're missing if you're stuck. Some of us on here, we're not stuck. We're moving on from one level to another. Some of us are some of the people on here, you're down a little bit from what you were. Other people are, twice the business of what you were a month ago. Other people on here, you're flatlined. Other people on here, you're looking to make your first sale, and everybody here is in a little bit of a different situation depending on who you are, how you're marketing, what you're doing, and what your overall strategy is, your framework is to build your business. And all of you want to get to the next level. You want to. And here's my goal. My goal is for those of you who make the decision, those of you who make the commitment, those of you who decide that you're going to be a part of what we're doing, that you're deciding that you're going to be at the event in Miami. My goal is to tap into what's inside of you and to bring out the strength and the leader in you that's capable of doing even more than I could do. That's my goal. Because the one thing that I would love to be able to do is to surround myself with people that have built businesses faster than me, that have done things that I've never done, that can do things that I don't know how to do, to surround myself with talent, with skills and abilities of people that know how to get results in their own unique way. My goal is to help you tap into what's inside and bring out the leader in you. And that's a different type of kind of a training. And so here's what I want to encourage you to do. Those of you who are watching this and you haven't bought your tickets, I mean, I don't know if lightning needs to strike you. I don't know if we need to get you in an arm bar and grab your credit card from you. And I'm joking, but I don't know what we need to do to get you to make a decision. We're going to be there giving everything that we've got. We're going to be sharing strategies we've never shared before. I'm going to be giving you bonuses just for getting your tickets and getting there. All right, just for getting 3 tickets, to making a decision that you're going to bring some tickets and you're going to bring some people with you, that you're going to bring your spouse with you, you're going to bring a friend with you, all right? Dave Sharp is laying it on the line. I mean, he's been going to Tony Robbins and going to all these different events and strategies to take his game to the next level. We're releasing some new stuff there that I'm not going to talk about. All I'm going to talk about is that we're going to be releasing some stuff there. If you really want to know how to take your traffic game to another level, you are going to be missing out on a lot of ability to make money just by not going. That's That's all I'm going to say. One time I was on the phone I was actually logged into the members area looking at who was going to go to our original Master's Course event. All right, and Justin Berengia had just started to make some money, and I noticed that he wasn't registered for the event, right? And it was like $5,000, and you had to buy tickets to Costa Rica, and I noticed that he wasn't registered. So I hit him up on Skype and I said, "Hey Justin, can we talk?" And he got on the phone and I said, "Hey Justin, I noticed that you're not registered for this event. Why not?" Why not? And he said, "Oh well, I got this family thing going on, and we're over, and we're moving, and blah blah blah." And I said, "Justin, do you trust me?" And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "Justin, you will be missing out on a massive amount of money if you don't just make the decision to go. And I'm not going to tell you why, other than pull out your credit card, fill in that form, and submit it in your back office." You had to fill out a form physically because it was $5,000. And unlike the $3,500 that you can get it for. But he said, "Okay, I trust you." I said, "All right, if you don't fill in the form and you don't go to the event, I won't talk to you again. Fair?" And he said, "Yep," hung up the phone. That decision of him getting to the event more than doubled his income. And I'll share why actually in Miami. It more than doubled his income. When Chris Record got involved in Empower Network, he got in. He's like, "Oh, it's like one of these little affiliate deals." He says, "Oh, come in, I'll make some money." And then he came to our event, and we came to an event. He was like this the first day. He was like, kind of growling in the background. But by the third day, he says, "I can build a home here. I'm in." And that's resulted in one of the larger teams in Empower Network. When Vic Strishouse, he got involved in Empower Network, he did one of the smartest things I've ever seen a person do. He came in and he brought in as many people as he possibly could bring in a short period of time. Right? Number one thing he did. Number two thing he did is all of them came to the event, and here's how he got into the event. He said, "Here's the deal, guys. In our team, we get to every event. And if you want to be in the team, you'll be there. And if you don't go, you're not in the team. It's fine. You're welcome to promote. You're welcome to, have the products, but you're not in the team. You're not part of the family. If you don't go, it's fine. Your decision." He brought 300 people with him to the first event. Then he went off and did some things to help his team and didn't really do a lot of marketing for a few months. One of those few months when he wasn't really doing marketing, he was still making an average of $5,000 to $15,000 a day because of bringing 300 people to the event and what that did to them. One of the smartest things I've ever seen him do. Tracy Walker. People say, how does she really succeed at the level she does? She doesn't bring in as many new members as a lot of the other leaders who are making the same amount of money. She brings in a lot of members, but not. She's just consistent. And here's why. Because if you're in Tracy's team, it's not an option. Because Tracy won't talk to you if you don't go to the event. She'll just forget your name, right? She'll love you, but she'll forget who you are. Same with Tony. And if you look at the difference between those who have been to events and those who haven't, it's not a small difference. 2014 is the year of freedom. 2014 is the year of a new message in Empower Network. Click the button. The discount code is Freedom2014 and buy your tickets now because we're going to take down our offer and we want to make sure that you guys get to the event where we're going to teach you some things that are just going to elevate your game to another level. Because I believe that this vision is bigger than just an internet thing. I believe that this vision is bigger than just selling an info product or teaching a traffic strategy, although we're going to teach you some really neat stuff in Miami, some stuff that nobody's ever taught before. And that's what I'm excited about. But it's not just about the traffic strategy. It's not just about selling great products. It's not just about blogging. It's not just about the 8 core steps. I believe that this is a different kind of a vision. I believe that Empower Network is about families. I believe Empower Network is about lifting you up to where you can elevate your game and do things on a level that you've never been able to do. I believe that Empower Network will produce more top earners than any company in direct sales history. I believe that this company is going for next year a $250 million in sales company. I believe that we're moving from that to a $500 million a year and $1 billion a year to paying $1 billion in commissions a year, which is my personal goal. I believe there will be a day in Empower Network when we're creating 100 people a year who are getting one of those nifty little $1 million rings that Dave Sharp has in his fingers. Not to create 100 millionaires, that's a different game. It's 100 new millionaires a year, 100 people who have earned $1 million in commissions in Empower Network that we're creating every 12 months. And I believe that we're going to do that. And I believe that we're going to expand into India, and that we're going to expand into Central America, into Spanish and Portuguese, and that we're going to start expanding all through Europe, and that we're going to have events starting to split off, and that we're going to go from one event to multiple events, to events in different languages, to events in different countries, all with different leaders, with different voices, with different visions. I believe that what we're doing is special, and in a way that it's blessed, because I've seen too many things that don't make any sense here. That have pulled people together, literally the right person at the right time in the right situation to make something happen that we couldn't expect in order to lift everything to a whole new level. An example is, even when things go wrong, it's like they go right. You know what I mean? How does that happen consistently in Empower Network? When we had our programmer who quit, and because he quit, I was looking into the lines of PHP code and found a phone number from the programmer who ended up building the first model of our system that actually saved our company and made it so we had a business, the only guy in the world at the time who could do it. How do we run into the right people at the right time all the time for 2 years straight? Even when it looks like things aren't going right, there's something being set up for it to go more right. Because I believe that in a way, Empower Network is blessed. Whether it's, we have some sort of super consciousness by aiming our mind and focusing in the same direction. I don't know if God is doing it. I don't know how it's working. But what I do see is I see things happening that to me, by all intents and purposes, they appear to be miracles. I believe that we can create a miracle for you in Miami. I believe that we can do something where we can tap on the inside of your spirit and lift you up, and that we're going to birth into something new in 2014, because it's time to take this game to a new level. It's not just about making a sale. It's not just about building a downline. It's about making a new decision to walk up in new freedom, to be able to speak your voice to new levels, to be able to reach more ears, guys. It's about taking this message and getting 20,000 people driving around every day listening to the Inner Circle, and then 50,000 people driving around every day listening to the Inner Circle, and then 100,000 people in different languages in different countries driving around every day listening to the Inner Circle, about packing events with 5,000, and then 7,000, and then 8,000, and then 15,000, and then splitting them off into 2 events with 15,000, and then having different languages break off as leaders rise up in Mexico, as leaders rise up in Costa Rica, as leaders rise up in South America, as leaders rise up in Brazil, as leaders rise up in Chile, as leaders rise up in Spain, as people start rising up in Europe and the United Kingdom, and then spreading off into different languages into India, where people actually work hard, right? About going into China, where the events start. It's about building a life. It's about building people. Really what we're doing is we're not building a business. Really what we're doing is we're building people. And then people go out and they build the business. Never forget that. That's what Empower Network is really about. That's what making a decision to buy your event ticket is really all about. So we're giving you this bonus, and we're giving you this special now for this purpose. So you can click the button and make a decision, because we're giving you a reason to stretch. We're giving you a reason to make 2014 the best year ever. We're giving you a reason to make a new decision for your family. We're giving you a reason not to make a New Year's resolution, because what's that? It's something that you resolve to never do. What we're doing is we're giving you a reason to make a new year, new you, who can live the life of freedom that you've always desired. That's what we're doing by giving you this discount, so you can make the decision, so you can make the commitment to your family that you care about them enough to get there. And so I'm going to teach you some special things. David Sharp's going to teach you some special things. We're going to be doing some special things, and it's okay if you don't go, because you're welcome to, miss out. Honestly, because we're packing the event. We're on track to have standing room only there anyways. And whether or not you go, it's okay, because we'll just bring somebody else there, and then they'll be having your breakthrough. They'll be having your breakthrough. And I would hate it if you're the one who's missing out. I was in a room in 2006, and there was a guy in the room who was at the launch of, actually this guy, he's older. He was at the launch of 5 major billion-dollar network marketing companies. And he was in the room that day, and he says, I've let 5 of them pass me by. Not again. Because it's my time. My time now. And he made a new decision that day. He made a new decision that day. I remember in 2009, my van, losing my job, getting the police knocking on my window, and then I had to reach down inside myself. I had to find something that I didn't even know was there. I had to find something, a resource that I didn't know that I have, but I'd had it within me all the time. The resource was the ability that would come out of me when I made a decision not to do it, but when I made a decision that it is happening now, that's it, period. And it was like the walls of the universe broke down because I decided to be the change that I wanted to see in the world. I decided to be the one to step up and to be the leader that I knew that I could be, to lift the leader out of other people by leading by example, by speaking words of life and inspiration into other human beings. Make the decision to be that. Click the button now and buy at least 3 tickets so you can get access to the bonus trainings on how to create social viral influence. And this is going to be piggybacking on some of the other stuff that we've shared. I want you to make a decision that you care about your future enough that you're willing to do what it takes, even if you need to stretch in order to be there, because life is about stretching the boundaries of normal. It's about breaking through the boundaries that other people have put on you that you did not put on yourself when you were a child, and your teachers were asking you, what do you want to do for a living? And you said, I want to be rich and free. And they said, well, let's go back down to normal. I'm telling you to do the abnormal. Let's be the ones who break through the normal, who say, no, this is a better way of doing things. We have a better way to be. Like my friend Eric Ward says over at Network Marketing Pro, every day he ends his show with, we have a better way. And we do. Click the button and order your tickets. And guys, we will see you in Miami. Congratulations on making the decision to get there no matter what by buying your tickets now.